Yeah, so I actually didn't be back after about 30 minutes. If you don't know what that means, the last video that I recorded was me up at about 3 a.m., sick out of my mind, unable to sleep, just like period, just wasn't happening. And I went on a little bit of a rant, and I said that I was probably going to be back after about 30 minutes recording that video. Didn't happen. What did happen, actually, is I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling for about another 2 hours, for myself to fall asleep for like an hour, and then wake up, and then just stare at the ceiling again for like many hours. I didn't get out of bed till like 12 this morning. Did dead nothing. Got so little sleep. I am so tired. I have been fighting demons today. It is certified 6 hours. I am officially, I will call myself sick at this moment. And hopefully it's just for today. And hopefully not tomorrow. Hopefully it's just like the weekend sickness, and I get over it and I get to move on with my day. Fortunately for you guys, you get blessed with the deep voice instead of the normal voice. My throat is killing me. I have been like, I'm gonna repeat it again. I've been fighting demons. I got up this morning being about 12, laid down like 6 different types of drinks. Well, not really 6, because 2 of them were just water. And I have been doing my best to work through them today, just to hopefully give my throat some kind of respite. I had a handful of pills that I just absolutely gulped down. Now, I think it's been working. I was supposed to be live earlier today. Didn't happen because we didn't feel good. Probably not going to go live today. But what I am going to do is I'm going to treat y'all to a dream that I had during the hour of sleep that I got last night. I really did have just a straight up fever dream last night. So we start in the magical setting of Asian restaurant. So I've been doing, like, recently, I've been going out to eat with one of my friends who's kind of like new to town. And she doesn't really have any friends, so I try and spend as much time as I can with her. Like, anytime she wants to go do something, we are going to go do something, right? And oftentimes that's like lunch or dinner or something at like some kind of Asian themed restaurant. And so one of those scenarios like worked its way into my dream zone. And in case y'all don't know, I live in a very dangerous area. It is not the most safe area. And so essentially what has happened is the dream kind of culminated into a combination of those two things. And so the two of us, it felt like a high-end restaurant. It was like a high-end, some kind of like Japanese Asian restaurant. And we went and we sat down. And as we were getting sat down, there was a wheel near the front desk at the front of the restaurant that they're like, oh, yes, spin the wheel to get something, spin the wheel. So I spun the wheel. There was nothing to lose. I didn't have to sign up for anything. I spun it. And what they did was they gave me a card, just like a little card like that or something, just like a regular credit card size card that was like some discount off the meal or something like that. It was nothing crazy. And so, you know, she went and sat down as I was like collecting the whatever, and I went up and handed that to her. After I handed it to her, I turned around because I had to do something. I was like talking to one of the workers over by where I spun the wheel. And while I was there, she had the card, and the waiter came up to ask a question. And when the waiter came up to ask a question, she like held the card out aggressively, she being the girl who I went on to eat with. And as a result of that action, I guess the waiter was feeling jumpy today or something. But what I saw from my point of view was that the waiters thought that she held up a weapon or something and was trying to rob them, right? Obviously, like, this is immediately a fever dream moment. This is not what was going to happen in the real life, but that's what did happen. And the girl who I was going out to eat with was very put off about this, because she knows it's a dangerous area. She knows it's not the best area. And she was under the assumption that they thought that she was going to rob her. And so, you know, that put her off. She started getting scared. You know, the setting of fear kind of started to set in that, oh man, I really did just move to a bad area. And so she's like a relatively like shy person in real life. And I believe this interaction kind of put her off. So she stood up and like started making her way out. I could very clearly see like the fear in her body movement and in her eyes. And, you know, her and I are like relatively good friends now. So I started like following after her. I was like, wait, what's going on? Where are you going? And in the dream mode, she was now getting really scared of me. And so I was like walking after her, and she was like speeding up and like darting out of the building. And so then I recognized, wait a second, she's now running from me. She's scared of everyone in this moment. After I walked out the front door, she was just gone. She was gone. I have no clue where she went. This is kind of problematic because I drove her to the restaurant. I drove her there. I don't know how she's getting home. So I look around for a bit and it's like, she's nowhere to be found. I left out a critical piece of information too. As she was making her way out of the restaurant, the waiter stopped her and was like, wait, hold on. Where are you going? And I think the waiter got the impression that her and I were on a date. This is another part of like the real life seeping into the brain space. We have gone out to eat several times and we keep having people think it's a date. And her and I are adamant that it is not a date every single time. It's not a date. It's not a date. It's not a date. As much as we can possibly get across. We're doing our best, but it just doesn't seem to work. And so, the waiter was talking to her and then the waiter turns and starts talking to me and she's like, I'm so sorry. We ruined the date. We spoiled the date. And I'm like, listen, it's fine. This was not a date. I genuinely do not care. We're going to go and her and I are going to deal with this and we're going to move on. You did not ruin a first, a second, a third date. Doesn't matter. We are nothing but friends. But, as that was happening, she was like, oh, it was Joel's first time here. I'm so sorry. Here, take these, use them later or whatever. Use them later today. Come back once it's been settled out or something. And so she got one and I got one. And this was like, as we were making our way out of the restaurant. Keep in mind, this doesn't make sense with what I said earlier. This is a dream. It's not going to make sense. And so after she was out and I was also out, I was under the assumption that both of us were to return later that night. And so after looking around, trying to find her, called her, texted her, nothing happened. I hopped in my car and went home. I assume she made it home as well. I made the decision to hop in my car and head home. As I was walking to my car, there was a homeless guy who was poking around my car somewhat. And he didn't look like, the average, dirty, scruffy homeless man. He was like a slender guy who kind of looked like he knew what was going on. So he was poking around my car. And as I walked up, he looked up at me, jumped up and kind of skittered away, right? So I hop in my car, I drive home. Came back later that night for what was supposed to be round 2, around the time whenever I assumed it was going to happen. Again, this is just dream logic. I kind of just knew when to come back. And as I walk up to the restaurant, I see her sitting down at a table, laughing, having a good time, right? And I don't know what happened in my brain, but it decided that we're not going to engage. I don't know why. My brain just kind of went, oh, okay, she had a bad experience before. Let's not make that bad experience happen again. Let's not walk up and and be aggressive or something. So, my brain decides, you know what? We're just going to let her have a good time. She's having a good time right now. We're not going to mess it up. We're just going to go home. And as I'm walking home, again, this is just dream logic. A lot of families started passing by me to go to the location. But it was as if the location behind me had morphed into a water park because all the families walking up and past me were wearing water park clothes and bringing in water park accessories. Again, that part is absolutely has no role in the story whatsoever. What does matter is whenever I got back to the car, all of the doors were open. The trunk was open. All of the doors around the car was open. And the guy was poking around my car again. And as I'm walking up, he's like, hey, yo, come here. You got something up with your car. And as I get nearer, he holds out my keys. Starts jingling them at me. He's like, hey, yo, your keys were sitting in there. Your keys were sitting in your car. And I'm like, oh, hold on. Okay, now we've got a problem. I don't mind if you're poking around inside of my car. My car is spotless. It's clean. There's nothing in there. If someone's poking around on the inside of my car, they're gonna be doing one of 2 things. Well, one of 3 things maybe. If this were in real life, they're gonna be stealing something, which they're not going to be. There's nothing in there. They're gonna be planting something, in which case that's weird. I don't know what they'd be doing that. Or what was a secret third option? Oh yeah, I guess that's still planning something, putting a tracker in there for something for later. Don't know why that would matter either. So genuinely, if a person broke into my car in real life, right now, and I walked up and I saw them breaking into my car, or not breaking in, but snooping around with the windows open and stuff, I'd be like, hey, yo, what's going on? What are you doing in here? You taking a mint out of my center console? That's all that's here for you. You can have a mint. You want a mint? That'd be it. That's genuinely all that would happen in real life. So, a similar thought process happened in the dream. I walked up to him and was like, oh, yo, what's going on? Why are you in my car? And the back car seat doors were open. Well, sure, so were the front, but I walked up to the back because it was closer. And I looked in the doors and there was someone else in the back seat. So now there's 2 guys and me. And my sleepy dream brain decided, okay, the guy currently holding my keys has just entered the back seat on the other side. There's a guy in between us. I immediately decide I'm going to reach in and try and grab my keys. So I reach across the guy in the middle, grab my keys, and start pulling them back. And then the guy in the middle, so here's the key ring, right? I have a finger on the key ring like this. He then goes and sticks his finger on the key ring. So now both of our fingers are like locked in on the key ring, right? We're like a cute little couple holding hands with the key ring in the middle. And I'm like, I'm not letting this go. These are my keys. So long as you have this, you have my car. I don't know how you got my keys, but you did. I'm not letting you get away with them. And so I start tugging on the keys. I, for some reason, sit down in the car with him next to him. And in this moment, all the doors are shut. Don't know how it happened, just did. All the doors are shut. And as I'm kind of like, slowly finagling to get my keys back, again, there's absolutely no aggression in really any of this for a long time. I'm just kind of chilling back there with these two random guys, like, much older men, obviously like not mentally sound men, trying to get a hold of my keys again. And as I'm doing this, the car starts reversing. Don't know how, don't know why. Eventually, I start noticing the other guy, the one who was originally holding my keys, start guiding the steering wheel, backing us out of the parking lot, and driving us to the highway. Still in reverse, by the way. Still in reverse, mind you. And so now we're slowly accelerating down the highway until we get to the point where we're going like 80 plus down the highway. And this is afternoon. By now, the sun has set, so it's dark. We're going 80 plus down the highway. I'm hanging on to the keys. I have yet to put my seatbelt on. I'm struggling. Unfortunately, the guy in the middle and the guy who is activating the steering wheel from the back seat also has his seatbelt on. So I'm the one who's in a bad position right now. And I recognize, wait, I am like actually insanely scared right now. I can't let go of my keys because they're probably going to steal my car. They already have. Don't know why that was the thought process going through my brain. I need to get my seatbelt on. If we get in a horrific wreck, which is probably going to happen, going in reverse down the highway at 80 with the person driving in the back seat, I'm probably going to die. So at this point, I've kind of accepted my fate that I'm going to be in a brutal car crash, and there's like not much I can do about it. And so I try to do something to stop it. I'm scared I'm going to wreck the car. I have no clue how to actually stop this situation. I start like nudging and trying to convince the guy who's driving the car. I'm like, hey, whatever, stop it, get down. Bad boy, bad. Doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. What does happen spontaneously is I guess I've now willed the car to slow down and stop because it's dream logic. I've willed the car to slow down just by that action. Unfortunately, I did not have the car stop in a really good position because what happens is the car slows down to a stop, and it slows down to the stop right in the middle of a group of people standing in the middle of the highway, which I immediately recognize as another carjacking scenario. So now I have the two guys in the car with me who already stole my car with me in it, and a crowd of like 8, 9 people encroaching on the car to try and steal it. And this is whenever I actually start doing stuff. I actually become a character in this story. Immediately, the other two homeless men in the car like show fear at the situation. So I'm like, now's the moment. I snag the keys. I jump into the driver position and I slam the accelerator into the people encroaching on the car trying to steal it. I think I get away with not hitting any of them except for like one who gets like slammed on the side and flies off away. But now we're chilling. We're blasting down the highway again. I'm getting away from these people because they had a car. They just weren't in it. I know they're probably going to come after us, most likely. And in this moment, the homeless guy in the back who was driving the car before starts yanking on my hair like, no, give me the car back. I want to screw around with him more. Give me the car back. And what I end up doing is as he's doing that, I slam on the brakes. I pull the emergency brake. And as the car is slowing down, I yank the battery out of my keys. Actually, let me just see how quickly, if I wanted to pull the battery out of my keys, would I be able to do it in this situation? Pop that off. Ah, man. Okay, dream logic didn't get to me. Okay, so this was the action that I was doing in the dream to try and stop this from happening as my car is like skidding to a stop. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it in real life, but I popped that open, popped that right there, and then just like pried the key straight out. Now, unfortunately, I can't seem to actually make it happen. Was I crazy? How do I get this out? What the heck? Well, I did it. I popped that right out. In doing so, you can't start my car if the keys have no battery in it. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's how it is. I have a fob, or what's it? Not a fob. I've got a push start car. And so I know there is a position in the steering wheel where I can put my keys, but it doesn't have a hole to stick the key in. Like, there is no stick it and twist or anything. Like, you just press it up against the thing. There have been moments whenever my battery, where my keys couldn't unlock my car, and I guess it was just like a weak enough battery. I have no clue how they work. I genuinely have no clue how they work, but I was able to press it up against that thing and start the car. So I was under the assumption that even if that didn't, or even if that did work, right, if pulling the battery out of the keys stopped them from at least pressing the button, and you could still start the car by sticking the keys up to that little spot that starts the car that had before, they probably wouldn't know that you can do that. And so I pull the keys out, or I pull the battery out. Car comes to a stop. I jump out of the car as quick as possible, immediately pull my phone out and dial 911, and start frantically explaining to the cops what's going on as I'm running away from the car. So I end up outrunning the homeless people, and I get far enough away. I start seeing cop lights approaching. I'm like, okay, sweet. I'm chilling. So I start, jogging my way up to the car so I can explain to them the situation. As I get there, the other carjackers arrive, the people who tried to steal it the second time in the middle of the highway. And, of course, I ran into their buddy. I was in the position to kill a lot of them. And so they're obviously pretty aggressive. And as they drive up to us, they start indiscriminately firing at the car, which are now surrounded by, well, not surrounded, but, the two police officers are standing by the car looking in the driver's side window saying, hey, this car's empty. Where's the guy? I'm, a ways away in the grass off to the side of the highway, so I see the firing start happening. I immediately dive into the grass because I'm like, I don't want to make myself a target. I'm going to try and hide here in the dark in the grass way off to the side. Luckily, I don't get hit. I'm perfectly fine off in the side. If that did happen, that's the end of the dream. Didn't happen. Dream kept going. Unfortunately, the two police officers were not as lucky as I was. They didn't make it. And neither did my car. You know who did make it, though? The two homeless men from way earlier in the story. They came back. It's like they were watching off in the shadows or something. I don't know why. They came back. Maybe they heard the gunshots or something. And when they returned, they were like they were just two completely different characters. They from then said, hey, we'll help you out. We'll fix this. And they took the officers, hid them somewhere. They took care of the bodies of the officers, and then also fixed up my car. Because the first, the slender homeless man who was poking around my car in the first time, he was, knowledgeable on cars and stuff, and he was tinkering with my car the first time I saw him. That's something I didn't mention. He was tinkering with it. Don't tell me how, with the nothing that he had, he managed to completely fix up my car to brand new from the litany of bullet holes that were in it, but he did, all right? And in the end of the dream, those two men took the police car that was now just there out in the open they just can take, and I went home in my car. I thanked them and we went our separate ways. They took the cop car, I took mine, I went back home. That was the end of the story, and then I woke up. So yeah, that's in between the last video and whenever I guess not in between, during my hour of sleep, this is what I was doing. So I wouldn't call it very much of a restful night, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, that's about the end of the story. I'm gone now. Bye-bye.